Alright, we're getting close to being finished. What we want to do now is we need to clean up some of this because there are some issues. Alright, so for example, the geometry right here, I don't want to be able to animate it. So I'm going to select all my geometry and I'm going to lock. I'm going to select this one, the body geo, and I'm going to lock it. Skull mask geo, this feather, lock. This feather, lock. And including the eyes, I actually don't want to be able to touch the eyes. So I'm going to just grab these guys, lock. Grab these guys, lock. So now I can grab things, but I can't animate them. I can grab, but I can't animate. Grab, but grab. But I can grab this, I can grab this, I can grab this, and I can grab this. Alright? So only the controls and the attributes on the controls, so even scale, I don't need it. This, so I'm going to lock it. This one, I already locked rotate. This one, I want everything. So I want to be able to like scale it up, rotate it, translate it. Okay. So that's just a little bit of cleanup. I've already turned off, part of the other cleanup was turning off all of my extra controls, which is the nonlinear deformers. So this is really close to being done. The last thing I'm going to do is I want a nice hierarchy. Alright, I want scale, like character name, global, scale, rotate X, rotate Y, rotate Z, and then local control. And I'll show you why. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to group it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I can group it 4 times. Alright, and I'm going to call this skull global. Global means everything, all the controls should be in global. Next is rotate X, rotate Y, rotate Y, and rotate Z. Alright? I'm going to skip scale. This is enough for this one. And then skull global, I want to be able to lock everything except for on off. Alright? I don't want to, because there might be things, and this actually for this character it's not that big of a deal, but other ones. And then rotate X, Y, Z, I'm fine. Now, why am I doing that? Why am I spending all this extra time? Because I already have my local control. Well, sometimes you're going to want to be able to animate the local control in its local space while you also are animating another like local space, and you're constraining another space, because remember what we were talking about, local spaces and world spaces. So by giving these extra groups, the extra layer of groups, it keeps our local control free. And I'll give you an example right now. So let me import an airplane. Alright, and let's make it big enough that this guy can sit in it. And don't worry about the model, it's not that big of a deal. It's just an example. Alright, so this guy is sitting in the airplane right here. Now, when I want to animate this airplane, it doesn't follow, right? Now, what I can do is I can take my airplane and I can constrain. If we go back to our constraints, animation, constrain, and we could do parent constrain, that's position and rotation, translate and rotate. And now I move this, but look what happened. I have blue highlights on my translate and my rotates. And I don't want that. I don't want a constraint on those. I may want the character to be able to jump and down. So instead, I take my airplane and I constrain it to, let's say, rotate Y. What that allows me to do is, even though I'm going to, let's do a quick animation. So now I animated my airplane, but I might want to animate my local control. So this character might want to do something. So I go here, maybe animate my translate and my rotate, and then I have this character maybe on 6. He's going to jump up a bit, maybe on 15. He jumps up, and he turns around, and then on say 22, he lands down. All right, and of course, where do we get our squash and stretch? I go here, key selected on the squash, and I go here. So about here he squashes down. About here he stretches up. Boom! He's stretching, stretching. Then maybe about here he squashes. And then as he falls, he stretches down. And then he squashes. And then goes up again to 0. Alright, so what that allowed me to do is animate my local control while my rotate Y is connected to the airplane. So now if I wanted to, I could even have this do a 360 barrel roll. So I go, whoa! Of course, it makes no sense why we'd want to do that, but I can animate more than one layer at the same time. And that is why we clean it up, but also why we add in these extra layers, the global, the rotate X, Y, and Z. And that concludes this character.